the only point of time that I actually wish I'm not a girl. Oh God, I shouldn't have been a girl.
I was afraid कि पता नहीं दुनिया क्या सोचेगी मेरे बारे में.
I couldn't make sense of what was happening, and I thought I was feeling guilty. I didn't know why.
In my class, I was the first one, you know, because it was so young. I was so young, not even 10, hardly 10.
मैं बहुत डर गई थी. मुझे क्या हो गया, ये क्यों हो रहा है, मुझे क्या कट गया, कुछ मतलब ऐसे डर लग गया.
I was so happy, I can't tell you. I didn't know what I was letting myself in for.
You know, I'd try and like hide and like pretend and like, you know, hide the thing in my pocket and run.
They used to think we should not talk about it, but I think we should. I didn't know it was universal in nature. I thought I was the only victim of it. I felt really shameful. I thought I had to hide it from everybody else. What to say in this topic? I really cannot talk on this.
Like, no, I'm sure you have. And, you know, I'd try and like hide and
First one.
But I think we should this topic. I really
sure. I thought I would
talk on this. Really friendly, stay very shy.
That's
Nobody hides their tissues when they have runny noses. People don't get conscious when they feel a sneeze coming on. And public outbursts are casually blessed. The same is not true of periods.
Welcome to all you need to know about menstruation. Menstruation marks the transformation of a girl into a woman. The inner lining of the uterine cavity or the endometrium builds up with increasing amounts of estrogen. The follicle-stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone stimulates the ovaries and aid the production of the ovule. This ovule travels through the uterine cavity, and if unfertilized, it goes out of the vagina along with menstrual fluids and blood. The onset of menstruation can be a distressing time for women.
I remember how we used to play, my sister and I. I remember all our favorite games. I remember how we used to laugh all the time when she ran after me. And I remember the day she was sent out of the house and could not play anymore. And this would happen to her every month, but I never knew why. At last they told me that she had become dirty because a crow had touched her. And I was afraid of playing alone ever since, terrified that the crow would touch me.
I think it's really, incredible the lengths to which people go just to maintain and reproduce notions of purity and pollution.
उत्तरांचल में कुमाऊं इलाके में औरतें तीसरे दिन नहाती हैं. नहाने के बाद उनके सारे कपड़ों को गौमूत्र से शुद्ध किया जाता है और उसको पीने को भी गौमूत्र दिया जाता है. उसके बाद वो औरत जो है घर के अंदर दाखिल होती है, लेकिन वो मंदिर रसोई में फिर भी नहीं जाती है. 5वें दिन वो रसोई में जाती है, घर के सारे काम करती है, पूजा पाठ सब उसके बाद ही करती है.
When I think of periods, I think loss of freedom.
their food is entirely made separately and their clothes are going to be kept separated.
In ultra-Orthodox Jewish communities, the woman is not supposed to touch her man for about 12-13 days.
Unsung, rubber tongue, rapid fire of a gun, waxing lyrical.
सकता है, कुछ डांस नहीं कर सकते, कहीं बाहर नहीं जा सकते, कहीं घूम नहीं सकते, कुछ ठंडा नहीं पी सकते.
They noticed that I was having my period, so they forbade me to go in. So I was locked inside this cottage all alone, and they went to the temple.
They would not let me walk around. They would not let me jump around. They would want me to work like a lady because it's as if you are being, cut apart from the entire family.
हमेशा से ऐसा ही रहा है कि जिस रूम में पूजा हो रहा है उस रूम में यू कैन नॉट सिट.
तो कमरा में रख देते हैं 3 दिन.
This is my sister and this is my cousin, and we're not allowed to touch her, so we're all sitting slightly apart in the picture.
11 दिनों तक हम किसी से मिल नहीं सकते.
You'll have a separate bed to sleep, a separate bed sheet. You're not allowed to touch the clothes, the cupboards. It's like a whole new existence, a separate existence.
Menstruation becomes an ideal way to show that women are, for at least certain periods in the month, polluted and so are likely to impact on the purity of the men, so should be kept, at a distance, should be kept away.
Cut apart from the entire family.
Forbade me.
You should not touch a separate existence.
Locked up, kept as a secret.
What does it mean for a woman to say that she has her periods and for society to say she doesn't? Not in actions, not in thoughts, not in conversations.
During puberty, the female body prepares for its critical function of pregnancy and childbirth. The breasts develop, the hips widen and the curves of the body develop. This can be a distressing time for women.
Spotless, clean, pristine. What is the body that we aspire for?
Now watch out from my honey. I physically got a big change, and I started feeling ki is it okay?
I was not really happy with the growth of breasts that happened, because it's like I felt it was kind of really weird. This girl in my class told me that this girl was skipping while she had a period and the entire uterus fell down. And for many years, I was really scared that if I'd skip or even jump, my uterus would just fall down.
Once you start menstruating, your breasts start developing, and then you don't want to be noticed because you're not comfortable with yourself. So you would slouch a little, you'll not be very comfortable.
And so all the boys were like, your hips will widen and you'll start your periods. What is this?
This is the time when your bra supports you in more ways than one, and your underwear becomes your closest confidant. At the bottom of my drawer lie the keepers of my secrets, my favorite underwear. They rise to serve frontline duty every 28 days. I owe them a lot for keeping me safe. After all, aren't the spots on your skirt the spots on your character?
Once I had a spot in my skirt, friends told me about it. Then they all walked behind me so that nobody else comes to know about it.
I asked my friends that मेरे पीछे spot तो नहीं लगा, देख ले एक बार देख ले.
जब मैं छोटी थी 10th 11th क्लास में तो मेरी स्कर्ट में एक बार स्कूल में स्टेन लग गया. तो मुझे उसमें तो शर्म आना क्या गई, मैं उसको धोया और अपनी स्कर्ट को उल्टा करके पहन लिया, बीच वाला हिस्सा आगे सूख गया, किसी को पता ही नहीं चला.
Like my friend, when she was young, her brother used to tell her always, like, खून से खेलना तो मर्दों का काम है. But then when she started getting her periods, then she realized, oh, I know whose work it actually is.
And I've got my share. That's one thing I never meant to do. 'Cause I love you.
My daughter, she was 15 and she was having her periods. And since she's mentally disabled, she's a little different. And she didn't have the sense of shame or the sense of privacy that has to be inculcated or taught. So she had her periods and she let herself get soiled, and she was in the public and she watched everybody's reactions to see how they were responding to what was happening to her, and she was trying to figure it out. And it was such a learning experience for me, because I thought to myself, well, what the hell, the whole world knows that a woman has periods, and if it's on her clothes, then it's on her clothes.
And yet, out there lies a fear of the woman coming of age, of a fertile body that might just escape the binds it is chained in.
I was told that, you know, this is the stage when you become a woman, from a girl to a woman, so you'll have to restrict yourself while interacting with other men.
जवान लड़की अगर होती है, अगर गैर मर्द सांस भी छोड़ता है तो वो प्रेग्नेंट हो जाती है.
I thought कि I should not talk to my guy friends, मुझे उनसे बात बिल्कुल नहीं करनी चाहिए.
Auntie made a poignant statement that Didi ab badi ho gayi hai and she's grown up and she's not going to play the same games with you anymore.
During this time, I'm not able to mix up with them, play with them. I think they'll come to know about it.
टीचर्स ही बोलती हैं कि भाई कुछ चीज़ प्राइवेट रखो और बॉयज़ से थोड़ा दूर रखो इन चीज़ बातों को.
Really conscious of the difference between men and women and the chemistry between men and women. And
इन डेज़ में बॉयज़ से भी थोड़ा दूर रहो, क्योंकि इन डेज़ में अट्रैक्शन कुछ ज़्यादा ही जाती है.
The fear is not that young women will be abused, sexually abused, or that they will have their bodily autonomy violated. Because if that were the case, you should be worried about them long before they had their periods. You should be worried about older women who cannot have their periods. Clearly, the fact that you are told to worry about it only when you have your periods is about a fear of pregnancy outside the bounds of a caste and class and race society.
Moral regulation around a woman really increases in intensity once she enters puberty. That is when she starts menstruating. So there is a kind of moral panic that exists around the area of a woman's active sexuality or her capacity to be sexual. And this, I think, is the reason why it's extremely important to control the female body thereafter.
Up for sale in the Consumer is God era is the Goddess's Guide to Freedom. Super absorbents that lock the secrets in. The loving touch of silky dry on your skin. The security of never being alone. 4 walls more comfortable than your own home.
कुछ भी करे, मेरे पास है 4 wall protection यहाँ भी.
What more could a girl ask for? Hop, skip, jump and prance. You yourself will be unaware of the mayhem between your legs.
इधर उधर ना हो इसलिए.
But freedom never came that easy.
हॉस्टल से अकेली.
Ask the girl who decides to step out and try her promised savior.
Ultra Care sanitary napkins.
You go to a small store, he will, till today, mostly a male shopkeeper, will very elaborately under the counter wrap the sanitary napkin packet for you in newspaper, secretly put it into a plastic bag which is translucent, and then hand it to you. And you're also expected to ask for it in lowered tones and not go blithely into the shop and announce that I want a packet of Carefree. It's not done. I mean, everybody would think you're completely crazy if you did that.
Premenstrual syndrome, or PMS, is a series of problems that appear along with the menstrual cycle. The hormonal changes in the uterus wreak havoc on women's brains. feelings of depression, sorrow, anger, frustration, and a variety of other emotions take control of women. Erratic behavior must be dealt with severely, and women need medical treatment to be made normal. It is a very distressing time for women.
I must have this bawling session.
I'm very bitchy when I have my period.
So that leaves around 5-6 days in a month only in which I am happy and she is happy.
It's something like a disease only. And I look for things to feel really lousy about myself.
A difficult time for the boys.
There is a notion of a norm which is lying behind the notion of PMS, because clearly there is the norm of human beings, and particularly women, who are continually emotionally stable, always available always available supportively, always available to be pleasant and smiling, and if they are not all these things, they must be sick.
Who doesn't want to become the ideal? But simple dreams often come at grave costs. What do we do to ourselves when we stretch ourselves to conform?
Women have been for centuries socialized into believing that they are so susceptible to external stimuli, that they have very little control over their reactions, over their behavior. So whether it's the lunar cycle or the menstrual cycle, both of them are likely to make her behave in this slightly mad fashion. Maybe that is feeding into my fear and insecurity about not being loved very much by everybody because I'm behaving in this unlovable fashion.
PMSing, I wasn't really aware of the concept. And this friend told me, I think you're suffering from PMS. It was the first time I came to know, you know, once you're having your menstrual cycle, you get these breaks and you get these fits, paroxysm, sudden, you know, when you start crying, when you start laughing.
जब ज़्यादा tensions होने लगती हैं और and I feel that okay, इन सब बातों में मैं otherwise ऐसे react करूँगी ही नहीं. तो बाद में मुझे कभी-कभार लगता है कि शायद इस वजह से ऐसा हो रहा है.
Psychologically, it has made some space in my head. मतलब मुझे हर महीना अब ये लगता है अच्छा मैं down होने वाली हूँ. So 2 days before I start getting my menses, मुझे अब कुछ होना शुरू हो जाएगा.
I don't believe in silence, 'cause silence seems so slow. I don't believe in energy if tension is too low.
Traditionally, pharma industry has made a huge amount of money by treating people who are healthy. Now, for a normal physiological change during the course of a menstrual cycle, why should anybody take medicines at all?
PMS and this whole notion of hormonal mood swings, etc., is a very 20th century idea. And apparently, hormones only affect women. There are male hormones and there are female hormones, but you rarely hear about the ways in which men are affected by rampaging testosterone.
Years and years of research have yielded that we do not know what causes PMS, and obviously then we can't treat it.
Once a month, just before she starts menstruating, she goes slightly berserk, right? Either becomes very aggressive or becomes extremely melancholic.
And you would imagine that the idea of hormones should actually break down the idea of a very rigid distinction between masculinity and femininity. The idea of hormones are also used to reinforce the distinction, and don't forget the multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry.
The pharma industry feeds into that insecurity as well and tells me, you know, yeah, your boyfriend is really going to get turned off if you're going to start losing your temper every 3 weeks. Have these medicines, you'll be your calm, sunny self always.
Now, women being the excellent guinea pigs that they are, they don't protest much, and in case of treatments like PMS, you can blackmail into believing that their life would be perfect, and they actually pay for being treated like guinea pigs, which is very ironic, and that is why they're targeted so much more than, let's say, their husbands or their brothers.
Menopause marks the end of a woman's reproductive ability and her effective use for society. The ovaries stop producing the ovum and become completely barren. The lunatic behavior that affected her at small intervals earlier now completely takes control. The usual irrational behavior is compounded by stress, anxiety, fear, sadness, and irritation. It is indeed a distressing time for women.
In a traditional setup, there are phases. So once a woman has had her children and the children are grown up, menopause is seen as the stage where she actually feels genuine freedom. She no longer has to worry about those 5 days of the month. She has acquired a status. She is soon going to acquire a daughter-in-law. She has acquired a, so that is probably the first time in her life, in a traditional kind of setup, that's probably the first time in her life where she acquires some authority.
Does getting rid of your periods guarantee you freedom? Is it easy to unlearn how you're taught to see yourself?
I anticipate it's going to be stretched over a longer period, so whoever's around me, beware. I guess they'll run for their lives, and probably they started running away already.
Relationship बहुत ज़्यादा ठीक नहीं रहती है, irritation होती है कि भाई इतने थके हुए आए हैं, इतनी परेशानियाँ हैं, एक और परेशानी को झेलो, ये सारा है.
I think there are a lot of emotional upheavals that we anticipate and not easy to deal with. I think PMS is bad enough.
बात है झल्लाहट, बात पे झल्लाना, सबसे ये मैंने ज़्यादा देखा उन दिनों.
I've heard from a lot of my friends and everybody that, you know, once you're menopause, you become sexually inactive.
An aunt of mine who's well past menopausal age, she's about 67 or 68 years old, had extreme cramps and all of that, and she went to the gynae who told her that she had growths in her uterus. Apparently the lady had been bleeding for years, never paid attention to it, and as it turned out, she was secretly proud of the fact that she was still menstruating.
Actually, I'm sort of experiencing it through my mother, I guess, because she's going through it right now and really seems hard, yeah.
I said old age is when you stop seeing yourself as a sexual creature. So I suppose post-menopause, maybe quite a few people, you know, go through that.
For 20 years, the gynecology establishment and the drug company made billions by trying to convince every woman who was undergoing a natural process like menopause that she would sort of gain tremendously by taking hormones and paying for them. Now claim that not only these hormones are largely useless, they probably increase the risk of cancers like breast cancers.
It's really a traumatic issue for women like me and you because of the need to not just be sexual but to be attractive, never to look old, and therefore you have things like hormone therapy and so on, which I think is very clear now that HRT is now increasingly being recognized as a dangerous form of therapy.
से परेशानियों से दूर रहने के लिए HRT मुझे बताया, हार्मोनल रिप्लेसमेंट थेरेपी. और फिर आके मैंने वापस स्टाफ रूम में आके बात की तो मुझे कई लोगों ने कहा कि वो कैंसरस हो सकता है.
She was absolutely paranoid because she is one of these ones who always likes to maintain herself looking at least 20 years younger than what she is. So she was very scared of what this period is going to, you know, she has to go through. So she took all the, what do you call, hormones and, you know, massages.
मेरे ख्याल ज़िंदगी की सबसे ज़्यादा शॉपिंग मैंने उन्हीं दिनों में की है. इतनी साड़ियाँ खरीदी गई, इतना गोल्ड खरीदा गया, वो सब मेरे ख्याल डिप्रेशन को दूर करने के तरीके ही थे.
On the hand may be quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend. A kiss may be grand, but it won't pay the rental on your humble flat or help you feed your pussycat. Men grow cold as girls grow old, and we all...
So some of us can shop our way to normalcy. For others, however, the normal is achieved through a pound of their own flesh.
Me and the girl now. Me and the
The reason cited for the removal of the uteri was the inability of the mentally handicapped women to hide their menstrual blood.
Thought that I had you laughing. Thought that I heard you sing. Think I saw you try. Consider this, consider the lengths that I would go to. I slip to my knees and I don't know.
Was this the freedom I sought?
Hell no, I said.
Did they ask before they set me free? It was a price I paid for not feeling the shame they tried to teach.
Life is bigger, bigger.
For not hiding and showing to the world the blood on my hands.